Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I am the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today, we have Troy Lett in the house, everything XRP. So please, everybody, if you have a question for Troy, please feel free to raise your hand at some point in this podcast, and I will unmute your mic, and you can ask Troy your question. Or if you can't speak, you are welcome to put your question underneath the XRP logo on the wall, and we will get to your questions at some point in this podcast. Also, to everybody, once again, please be careful who you follow, what you put in your mind. A lot of crazy things going on out there, everybody. I was in a space last night and witnessed it firsthand of somebody coming in there and infiltrating that space that I was co-hosting. So please, everybody, I sit in these spaces for a reason, because I want to let everybody know what is going on out there, what's being said, how things are behaving, how people are behaving and maneuvering out there. So again, everybody, please be careful. I can't implore you enough to just tighten up your circle, guys. If you have 3 to 5 people you've been listening to through the course of your journey here, stick with them, because they're more than likely going to continue on that right path. Also, too, if you get a random text saying it is from me, please block and report it, and let me know so I can make sure they're not here on my channel, whether it be from me, Captain Kyle, Kelly, SG and on, any of us truthers out there. We all tell you that we don't randomly reach out to you and ask you if you're ready for the scare event, finances, crypto, anything like that. So if you guys fall for that, that's going to be on you, because we tell you guys time and time again, it's not us. We won't randomly reach out to you. However, if you email me or if you direct message me, I will get back to you. Give me some time, because I do get a lot of messages and emails on a daily basis. So I will respond to those, but I will not randomly start a conversation with you and ask you those types of things. Also, too, everybody, please go check out the website. Sign up for the newsletter. It is free. You will get the weekly updates on the podcast, as well as the lineups for the show, the guests, the times, and the dates. So please sign up for that so you can get the notifications of that. Also, too, everybody, if you come in late to the podcast, you can follow the podcast host on my social medias, as well as the podcast hosts, which are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music, and I recently just created a YouTube account, so that we will be working on to get that up and moving, and that is the Revival of America. The social medias they're all verified. I wanted to get them verified for you guys to know that is my legitimate account, because there are imposters out there, unfortunately. Jenny Jareed, Facebook, at Jenny_Jareed X, at J Jareed Rumble, at J Jareed Instagram, at J Jareed True Social, the Revival of America right here on Telegram. And then everybody go check out my TikTok, the official J Jareed, at the official J Jareed. That's my account. We are trying to get some content up there. I'm trying to bring you guys the show lineups and stuff like that. But we're working on it, everybody. As you guys know, I have a day gig, so this I do on my free time. So I'm trying to keep up with all of it. Also, too, if you have a story or a journey you would like to tell everybody, please reach out to me, everybody, at the Revival of America at yahoo.com. Because remember, everybody, your voice, your journey is what is going to help shape our new world that we are coming into. And everybody, we are being listened to in over 100 countries. We are making noise. So people are listening to us. They like what we're saying. And I want to give you guys the kudos as well, because without you, the Revival of America would not be. So I want to say thank you, all of you. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support and the continued want and the will to know the truth. So with that, everybody, pat yourselves on the back. And we do have Troy Lett in the house. How are you, Troy?
I'm good. I'm nice and cold and windy here in Kansas. So as good as you can get here in Kansas, I guess.
Well, hopefully you're in a nice heated car or building.
I do have my heater on my pickup, so I'm good.
Well, good for you. And you have about an hour and 15 minutes today, Troy?
Yep.
All right, so let's get into it. I know we're super excited. We're seeing a lot of movement in the market. We know Trump is going to be with Brad Garlinghouse today. They're having some kind of crypto conference. Do you want to just go with it? Let her rip, potato chip.
Well, let's back up here about 6 months. Donald Trump went to a Bitcoin conference and kind of stated, he's at a Bitcoin conference, right? He stated that he was going to start some kind of strategic reserve. And, all the Bitcoin maxis thought it was going to be, truly believed that he was going to start a strategic reserve on Bitcoin. Well, last Saturday or Sunday, I believe it was, Donald Trump put out a post, and it didn't even mention Bitcoin and Ethereum, but it mentioned The number one was XRP, and the next one was Solana, and the next one was ADA, which is Cardano. And then, a few minutes went by, and then he came back and he tweeted again. He goes, well, of course, we're going to have ETH and Bitcoin in that as well. But through the course of that time, the Bitcoin maxis, I mean, their heads were exploding. They were so damn mad. But yesterday we seen Donald Trump sign an executive order, and that executive order had a strategic Bitcoin reserve in it. And also it has a digital asset stockpiling in it. So within that Bitcoin reserve, the maxis thought they were all going to go out. Donald Trump was going to go out and buy a bunch of Bitcoin. He never said he was going to do that. He took all the government Bitcoin and moved it within that strategic reserve. Now, what that does is it kind of locks that Bitcoin up. It's keep preventing it to hit the market, selling or buying. The only way they can add to that Bitcoin and that reserve, Bitcoin reserve, is if it doesn't cost taxpayers any money. So, I'm not saying the government can't. The way they've got about 200,000 Bitcoins right now. And the way they seize those through Silk Road and nefarious things. So that's how they've got those 200,000 Bitcoin. Now, they can continue to do that. They can continue to seize those Bitcoins if there's nefarious things going on. But they can't buy any with taxpayers' money. And that leads us to the next one. These are going to be custodied with the Treasury, the digital asset stockpile. I believe they're going to have different assets within a stockpile, probably ETH, probably Solana, ADA, and XRP. But in order to get those, I think that's the same thing that applies to as Bitcoin. They can't use taxpayers' money to accumulate that. Now that brings us to different scenarios that are playing out on Twitter. And I just like to say this before I get into any of this. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just trying to kind of maybe show you guys what I'm seeing on Twitter and different things. I do a lot of research, and I'm just trying to pass that on to you. You got to do your own research. Don't take my word for it. Get on there and do your own research. But there's some stuff happening on Twitter that different scenarios of what could be playing out. Currently, Ripple owns the escrow account, which roughly has between 40 and 50 billion XRP in it. Now, some are saying that the Treasury is going to issue T-bills and buy the escrow. Now, that could be at $2.50. I think it's at $2.44 right now or something like that. It's falling like a manhole cover in the sky right now because there's very uncertainty in the market right now with this crypto conference going on. So some are saying that this could actually, the Treasury could issue T-bills to buy the escrow account. Some are saying it's going to be at $2.50 a piece, and some are saying it could be as high as $10,000. And Arthur Brito has stated that in order for XRP to operate at its best functioning abilities, the price has to be $10,000 or above. Because if we're looking at a currency that's going to last 100 to 200 years, it has to be a high price because every time you move an XRP, it burns just a little bit of that XRP. So if you want to move trillions of dollars, right now it's going to take trillions of XRP to move that money. And it'll burn it up so fast it would make your head spin. So that's why it's got to be an extremely high price. The other thing that we've got playing out right now, the SEC has dropped about 8 or 9, 10 lawsuits against different crypto companies. They dropped one against Coinbase, Uniswap, Kraken, several others. I don't know all of them right now, but the one kind of lagging is the Ripple case. And I think a little bit, we were ahead of the game on this, and we already went through court. The rest of them hadn't been through court yet. So there was no judgment against any of those that they released. There is a judgment against Ripple. Judge Torres fined Ripple basically $125 million. And they said, okay, we'll write the check. And then the SEC appealed the case. So Ripple said, no, we're not going to we'll write the check, but it's going to go into an escrow account. And if they appeal it, we get the check back. So there's a judgment out there of $125 million. I think that the $125 million will be paid, but it'll be paid into the Treasury, not the SEC. That $125 million today would buy you roughly 50 million XRP. So there would be a $50 million or 50 million XRPs in the Treasury if they go that route. There's several different routes that this could take. And the reason they were talking about the $10,000 price, obviously to set a price, and obviously to make it high enough that you're not burning all the XRP up. And then also they would own about 45% of the XRP that are in circulation. They would have it in an escrow account. So that would make it almost impossible for China and Russia to maybe crash the market. It's because they own, just damn near half of it. So do we have any questions out there yet?
So I have one for you real quick, a couple actually, Troy. So can you speak a little bit on the Trump coin as well as this conference that Trump is having today with Brad Garlinghouse, right? And
there's a whole bunch of them.
Oh, okay. Well, can you maybe speak on those? I know Brad Garlinghouse they've been talking about him here lately and what's happening today, and maybe what we can potentially see after today. What are your thoughts?
I think potentially after today, we might see this lawsuit go bye-bye because, they're just trying to work out the details of it right now. Because you don't put a digital asset into your strategic stockpile if it has a lawsuit on it. So you just don't do that. But before they can get it into a strategic fund, they have to get rid of the lawsuit. And I think Donald Trump is on top of that. The people that are going to this roundtable, obviously Satoshi Nakamoto is not going to show up because nobody knows who he is. But who's representing Bitcoin? Michael Saylor. And Michael Saylor is the one that said, "Oh, you need to sell your kidney and your liver to buy Bitcoin with." And that's not me at all. I can't stand the guy. But we got Brad Garlinghouse. We got Brian Armstrong from Coinbase. One of the ones that had just popped up today, and I think he's an outstanding individual. He used to be the comp controller of the currency, and his name is Brian Brooks. He's the one that sat in front of Congress and basically outlined how Bitcoin is highly traceable. There were some hackers that hacked a pipeline, the gas or oil pipeline, and they ransomed them for $5 million Bitcoin, $5 million paid in Bitcoin. And he's basically the one that said to Congress that had they asked for anything else, we'd have never caught them. But they did ask for Bitcoin, and we could trace that to the IP address and caught every one of them, got all the Bitcoin back. So those Bitcoins are probably part of the strategic reserve, Bitcoin strategic reserve. But yeah, this conference is kind of a big deal today. President Trump, I believe, said that we're going to have a round table. So where do we see a round table at? The Bearable guy, 1, 2, 3, and they're sitting at a poker table. And there's a hand that comes out of the shadows, and it's got a rope in its hand. It's got a big bell above it. So are we going to start this today at the crypto conference? I think so. There might be some sparks flying today. We'll see with the Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're currently, Ethereum. There's a whole list of criminality that's been behind Ethereum, and I think there's a whole bunch of criminality behind Bitcoin as well. But the biggest thing I think that's happened in the last few days that the market kind of follows Bitcoin as well. If Bitcoin's falling, everything else is probably falling right along with it. Bitcoin rises, and usually it takes just a little bit of time, and everything else starts rising out of the shadows. We've seen it go up just a tiny bit after Donald Trump said he was going to start a Bitcoin strategic reserve, and now Donald Trump has came out and said, no, we're not going to buy anymore. We already have it. We have 200,000 of them, probably a little over 200,000 of them. We're just going to put them in a reserve so we can't sell them all at once, or kind of manage them a little bit better. And they're going to do a complete audit of actually how many Bitcoins the United States government owns. Now, for those of you that probably don't know, I believe that the NSA is the one that actually created Bitcoin and the Satoshi is Arthur Britto, David Schwartz, Jed McCaleb, and a guy by the name of Glenn Lilly. So once those, the Department of Homeland Security knows who Satoshi is. They interviewed 4 guys. So they know who Satoshi is. Why won't they tell you? You know, if you have a problem anywhere with your Bitcoin, who do you go to? Do you go to Michael Saylor, the guy that wants to sell your liver for Bitcoin? Jenny, did that answer your question a little bit?
Yes, thank you, Troy. And then also, I want to know your thoughts. The Trump coin. We know when he put that out, it went crazy. So, what are your thoughts on the Trump coin?
Well, my thoughts is that it's a meme coin, maybe a collectible coin that might be valuable in the future. I don't know, but it's not XRP. Melania put her coin out there as well. I think Donald Trump has I think it's called Liberty Exchange, maybe. I can't think of the name right off the top of my head, Jenny, but I think they're both meme coins, and they might be valuable in the future, but probably as a collector's item more than anything.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you, Troy. Okay, everybody, we're going to go into some questions here for Troy. So if you have a question, please feel free to raise your hand. I will unmute your mic. If you can't speak, there is an XRP logo on the wall. You can put your question under there. So with that, C Girl, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, C Girl. Your mic is unmuted. Push the blue button.
I accidentally did that. I'm sorry.
No worries. Thank you. All right. Anybody have questions for Troy? You guys, he's here for you guys. So please raise your hand, ask your questions. He takes time out of his day to do this. So please ask your questions, everybody. It's a live Q&A. All right, Troy. So until we get some questions, you want to touch on anything else? Oh, here. We got Melinda Wright. Melinda Wright, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Melinda.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Jenny, Edmonds, Troy, for all your help. It's so much appreciated. Troy, 2 quick questions. One is, I've been reading up a little bit about how XRP might be dipping to as low as $1, obviously buying the dip, correct? That's number 1. And then number 2, as far as use cases go, I heard somebody else talk about how with XRP, you can be your own bank. So if you want to do some research on that, if I want to do some research on that, for other additional use cases for XRP, would I go to Ripple.com? Those would be my 2 questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Ripple.com would be a good one, but I do a lot of research on YouTube. There's a lot of great information on YouTube out there. When you get into other subjects, they typically try to censor that. But with XRP, they're really not trying to censor anything. When you get into the things like ETHgate, they try to censor that with Vitalik Buterin and how the IPOs went, and how the initial coin offerings, that kind of thing. They do kind of censor that because that leads all the way up to the SEC. But your first question was whether I thought XRP would dip below $1. I don't think so, but it could. I'm not saying it won't. My strategy is, I think of XRP. We're at the beginning stages of XRP, and I used to say anything below or above below $2 was a bargain. Then it went over $2, and I think I need to change my stance on that. I think anything below $5 is probably a bargain, because where I think XRP is going, it's going to blow people's minds. I mean, absolutely blow their mind when this happens. It could go to $10,000 very quickly. We've got a lawsuit on us, and I think that was a blessing in disguise for all of us here on this channel today, because we've had the opportunity to buy. If that lawsuit hadn't have been put into place on December 22nd, 2020, I guarantee you, I wouldn't have had the XRP that I have today. For the simple fact, I could see it being $10, $20 here pretty quick. And if they wouldn't have stifled our innovation right there, it would be way higher than that today. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just going to say one more thing too. The longer you hold on to it, it sounds like it's really going to get into the 6 figures. It sounds like. Would that be your opinion as well eventually?
I think it goes higher than that. David Schwartz basically came out and gave a scenario where a hedge fund, and they actually did this. They moved $50 million overseas, and they did it in 3 seconds, and it cost them 30 cents.
Yeah.
So, but look at how many XRPs they burn up doing that transaction, because the price was about 50 cents. So it took 100 billion XRPs to move that money, and each one of those XRPs burned just a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's basically stated, wouldn't it be easier if a company had to move $50 million if they could just move 50 of the XRP? And see, what a lot of people don't understand is the bank really doesn't care what XRP costs. They care about the efficiency. They're the ones moving hundreds of millions of dollars around the planet in a day. You know, there's trillions of dollars moving. And let's just say XRP is at $1 million, and they can move their money overseas, and it costs them, it happens in 3 seconds, and it costs them 30 cents. That is a bargain. Today's, with the SWIFT system, to move that kind of money, it takes 3 to 6 business days. Of course, there's all kinds of ways that money can get lost because it's traveling. It costs 3 to 5% to move that money. Very expensive, very slow. And when that money's moving, the people that are moving the money don't get the interest. The banks do. So 6 days, and you think $50 million, that's a lot of money. But think about the trillions of dollars that are moving each day. And the bank's getting that interest, not us, not the people that own it. They're moving it, and they're getting the interest on it as it moves through the SWIFT system. So they like it nice and slow.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you so much, Troy, Jenny, the admins. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate your patriotism. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks
for your
Melinda.
question.
Thank you. Okay, Chris, I'm going to unmute your mic. Go ahead and ask Troy a question. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Troy, this is Chris. Nice to hear you. Thank you, Jenny, for doing this. I so appreciate listening to Troy when
Of
he's
course.
on Joe's channel. And I just really admire you both. I have a couple of questions for Troy. Okay, so you're explaining that, okay, the Bitcoin, Trump's going to just keep it in the reserve, right? Why does he want to just keep it there and not use it? And then I have another question after that.
Well, I think Donald Trump, a lot smarter than me, he wants to lock that up. He doesn't want to manipulate the market like they have been doing. So he's going to keep that Bitcoin. If he unleashed 200,000 Bitcoins on the open market, the market would just absolutely crash. And that would include everything, not just Bitcoin. I told you that everything kind of follows Bitcoin. When Bitcoin's going up, everything else is going up. If Bitcoin's going down, everything else is going down. Now, with some news from Donald Trump about Ripple and XRP, I could see them decoupling Bitcoin and XRP, and I could see XRP taking the number one spot on the coin market cap. And another thing I didn't mention earlier, and the people that have listened to me for a couple of years here anyway, I've always said that I don't own any XLM. We didn't see Donald Trump mention XLM, did we? Hopefully that answers your question, Chris. Go ahead and answer your second one.
Okay, thanks. That's very helpful. Okay, so you mentioned that China owns over half of the XRP. Will they control things then, or why do they own over half of it? How did they get so much?
No, you misunderstood me. I said the government, the Treasury Department, might own, if they get the escrow account from Ripple, they'll own close to half of it. What I said is that would keep Russia and China from crashing the market. If it was like at $10,000, they wouldn't have enough XRP to crash the market. So, I think the Treasury is going to buy the escrow from Ripple, and there's somewhere between 40 and 50 billion XRP within that escrow account. So with the Treasury's office, let's just say they bought 30 billion of them at $10,000. That would readjust all the pricing. We'd all be multimillionaires. Some of us would probably be billionaires. But there's only 1% of the people that own XRP. So they don't necessarily want to make everybody rich, but they're saying, okay, well, 1% of the population out there is going to get rich off of this move. And that's us. You don't understand when you walk into a grocery store, you're probably the only one standing in that grocery store that has any idea what XRP is. I get on another channel every once in a while, and I talk over there, and I was going to go on there about 2 years ago, but the lady that owns the channel, her name is Joe. she didn't know whether audience was quite ready for it. I think XRP at that time was around 47 cents. Now they're when I come on in there, they stick to the channel like glue. But they're all getting very knowledgeable over there, and I don't know where I was going with that, but sorry. Another question?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. It's okay, Troy. It happens to the best of us.
I had a thought, and I thought I'll go there, and I just left my brain. Sorry, guys.
You're good. It's that cold weather over there. We'll forgive you this time. All right,
Exactly.
DNA King, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, DNA King.
Sorry, I accidentally hit that.
Oh, no worries. Thank you for being here. All right,
Thanks,
Terry. Terry, Awakening, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hey Troy, I was just curious, Uphold's actually allowing you to start staking again. I've never explored that. Can you explain how that works and if it's a wise choice?
I haven't done any staking right now. You can stake on Uphold, but you can't stake XRP on Uphold. I think there's about 19 different coins that you can stake. So right now, the staking part is kind of there is a chance when you stake your coins that you could lose some of them. That's why I'm not doing it right now. There's some of them over there that pay pretty good interest, but yeah, I'm going to wait until they get the irons worked out on that. And the way that works is you put your when they call it staking, they put your XRP or whatever you're holding, they put it in a pool, an automated market maker pool, and they loan those out. So there is a chance that maybe you don't get your coins back, or they default on that. That it's kind of a loan type situation, but they call it staking. I think that's because the SEC and they can't do an interest rate or anything like that. But that's all going to change. I think we're a little bit early for me personally to be staking. I need to do some more research on it. I know when David Schwartz came out and said that it's AMM, automated market makers, and he said eventually it will be, and he kind of slanged it. He goes, it'll be automated money maker. So it's going to be a great thing. I think someday we'll be able to stake our XRP and earn a passive income on it that we may never have to sell our XRP. Hopefully that answered your question.
Thank you, Troy. It does.
Thank you, Terry. All right, Troy, since we're speaking about Uphold real quickly, can you touch on, a lot of people have questions in regards to wallets, the vaults, and all that kind of thing. And we've been on Uphold, and I don't have any of that LEPAL and all that stuff. I keep everything on my Uphold, and it's been good so far. So is that something that people have to do, or can you kind of touch on that a little bit? Because I think some people are kind of confused. If they just have Uphold, can they just leave everything in there, or do they have to go and do all these wallets and everything?
Uphold is actually a wallet. In order to be considered a wallet, you have to be able to send and receive digital assets. So you can do that on Uphold. You can do that on Coinbase. And when Jenny said an LEPAL, I have what's called an LEPAL Titan. And the only reason I bought it is because I got a really bad taste in my mouth about Coinbase. I didn't like Brian Armstrong. And that's originally where I had started buying my XRP. So I moved all of my XRP from Coinbase to my LEPAL wallet. Wasn't that difficult to do. Now, Uphold, I have a whole different view on Uphold. I've been following a gentleman by the name of Greg Kidd. Greg Kidd is a billionaire, and he was the 10th employee at Ripple. He was also a regulator. Long history. He knew Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey used to work for him, and there was another gentleman that used to work for him as well. I can't think of who his name is. They started a big corporation, but Jack Dorsey, we know, started Twitter. But Greg Kidd, he loaned Uphold $56 million to start their exchange. Now, with Uphold, I've mentioned Coinbase, Kraken, BitTrue, Binance. There's one company in particular that partnered with Ripple, but Uphold, and that company was Ripple. So Uphold is helping Ripple move XRP money, a lot of stuff around the world. Uphold is doing that in partnership with Ripple. So I can't say enough for Ripple and the people that work at Ripple. Also, the people that work at Uphold. They got. Nobody has great customer service, I would say, but Uphold has one of the best customer services over there. They also provide, if you're a little bit sketchy or not, I don't want to say sketchy. If you're a little bit hesitant to leave your coins on a market or an exchange, I currently have everything that I've ever bought on Uphold. I still have it on Uphold, and they've worked great for me. For the last 5 or 6 years, they've done everything and way, way more than they ever said they would do for me. Originally, when I had my Uphold on there, they said, we're going to drop a coin to you, and it was called the Spark token at the time. They changed the name of it to Flare. So that took about 2 years, and they told us this coin is coming in the future. They're working on it currently. So all the exchanges around the world, they took a snapshot of everybody's account that held XRP, nothing else, no Bitcoin, no Ethereum. It had to be XRP. And then they said, we're going to drop this Flare token into your wallet. Coinbase did the same thing. So throughout that 2 years, Hugo Philbin, the one that was creating the Flare, he designed another token that was called Songbird. Songbird was a test network for the Flare, but Songbird dropped, and Uphold got that token. They didn't say they were going to give it to me, but they dropped it into my wallet anyway. Everybody that had Flare on their or XRP and soon to be Flare, they got their Songbird. Coinbase, however, didn't. They kept it. And then Brian Armstrong went out and bought a $133 million house in Los Angeles somewhere. So it really pissed me off, and I got my coins off of Coinbase. I put them on LAPAL. Back to Uphold. Once the Flare dropped into my account, Flare had said, okay, we're going to drop in the beginning. We're going to drop 100% of this into your account. And then they came out several months later and said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to drop 15% into your account. And then over the course of the next 3 years, if you don't sell your Flare, we are going to drop that Flare at 3.5%. I think it was 3.5% a month. Around the 20th, they'll drop that 3% in each month. And what that did is it kept a lot of people from selling their Flare, because if you sold it, you didn't get your rewards. Now, anywhere else other than Uphold, an LAPAL, Titan, LAPAL, Ledger, Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, all of those other places, in order to get your rewards, you had to do something. You had to wrap it and delegate it in order to get your rewards. Uphold does that for you. You don't have to do anything. They did it for you. They don't have to, but they do. We got technical people here. We'll do it for you, and that way you get your rewards every month. And another great thing about Uphold is, there's a lot of people saying, well, not your keys, not your crypto. And what that means is if you have coins on Coinbase, they're saying they're Coinbase's coins. Or if you hold on Uphold, they're Uphold's coins. Or Binance, they're Binance. So they want you to move those tokens over to a LAPAL, Ledger. There's a wallet called XAMAN, Examine Wallet. When you put them on those wallets, they're yours. They're your responsibility. If you lose them, they're gone. So Uphold has said, okay, let's go in between this. I currently have all of mine on Uphold, the exchange. Now, if I was to get nervous and say, and maybe that happens someday. Maybe when it goes up to $10,000 a coin, I'm going to say, I better protect a little bit of this. They've got something called a vault over there. And what they do is they generate 3 keys for it. They keep a key and you get 2 keys, but it takes them off the exchange. It puts them in a vault. And I think that vault, they charge a fee for it. And I think it's $50 a year. So, my originally thinking, if I'm going to, I invested small, I started out very small, and I thought, I've got $100 to invest. And if I invest this in XRP, and then I have to go buy an LAPAL, which I think they're about $179 right now. I thought, why would I have $100 invested in Coinbase, and then I'm going to go out and spend $179 on an EliPal? Why not put that $179 back into the asset that I want to put it in? So I kind of had that time frame or mindset at that time until Coinbase they didn't steal anything from me. Well, in a roundabout way, they kind of did. They didn't own the XRP that generated the Songbird. I did. I had that money on their exchange. I feel like those tokens should have been mine. Now on Uphold, they dropped my Flare, they dropped my Songbird, but they also dropped 3 other coins that I had no idea were even out there. One of them was DeFi something and Evernode, and I would have never got those coins had I had my XRP off of their exchange. Another thing about Uphold, right now you're currently holding your money in the bank, right? And you got a savings account, probably got a checking account, and they pay you absolutely nothing. Well, I shouldn't say absolutely nothing. Probably a very, very, very small 0.5% maybe if you have it in a savings account. Uphold now, if you hold over $1,000 in USD on Uphold, they'll pay you, I think it's just under 5% interest annually. And that account is also insured up to $2.5 million. So what more can you say about a company of Uphold? They have their glitches. I won't say that. Every company does. I've helped a lot of people set up their Uphold accounts, and then when they have trouble with them, I can't fix them all, but they'll DM me and say, hey, what can I do on this? We had a gal that lost her phone, and she had set up a 2-step authenticator, which I don't have, but she did, and she couldn't remember the password to her 2-step authenticator. And I said, well, why don't you email Uphold and just tell them what's going on? I said, I bet you they'll help you get it out. And they did. About 2 weeks later, she called me and said, hey, took a little bit, but we got her figured out, and we're off to the races. And then I had a couple of gals call me that said, hey, I can't get into my account. It's frozen. Well, come to find out, there was a hacker trying to get into their account, and Uphold had shut it down. So they are trying to, they have another thing called Know Your Customer, and that's with Coinbase and Binance. Most of them have what's called Know Your Customer, and that means you're going to have to, in order to set up an account with them, you're going to have to take a snapshot of you. Occasionally, they'll ask you for a new selfie, and then you're going to have to take a picture of your driver's license or some form of ID that tells you who you are, front and back of my driver's license. I had to put with them. And then, at the beginning, I was very nervous about any of this. I'm scared to death like half of you people are. So I went to my bank and I started a brand new checking account. I thought, well, I won't keep a lot of money in that checking account. Only when I want to invest, I'll put that money in that checking account. And that way they can't steal a whole bunch of money from me. I don't know that I would do that today. I'd probably just do my regular checking account, but I still have that account today, and that's still how I invest. I went in and I told my bank, I said, look, I'm going to be investing in some stuff in Robinhood, some stuff on Coinbase, and some stuff on Uphold. I said, when you see those come through, don't flag them, because a lot of times some of those transactions look like they're coming from overseas, and they'll flag them. And some banks will tell you, okay, we can't do that. We don't let you invest in cryptocurrencies. Just go down the street and go to another bank. There's banks out there that'll do it. Did that answer your question on Uphold?
Yes, thank you, Troy. And since you're talking about Coinbase, here, let me go back here real quick. We've got some questions here on the wall. Hang on a second. Okay. So it's from Jameson. It says, I am using Coinbase because that's where my friend said was the easiest to navigate. For some reason, I was told that I should move my money from Coinbase to my Coinbase wallet. My wallet will not recognize my Coinbase. I'd love to know how to transfer it to the place you are using. Meaning, I think Uphold.
Yeah, the easiest way, I could probably explain it to you a little bit, but the easiest way is get on YouTube and just type in that you want to move your XRP from Coinbase to Uphold. There'll be several videos on there, and it's a lot easier because they can show you what buttons to push on your phone or your computer or whatever you're using to get that to happen. When you move stuff from Coinbase, they have their own 2-step authenticator. So when you hit send, if you're using your phone, this is how they did it for me anyway. When I hit send on my phone, they would send me a 6-digit number, and I would have to, of course, they'd have the lines right there. They would text me these numbers. So I'd have to go to my text, write those numbers down, and then I'd have to go back to Coinbase, put those numbers in, and then hit send again, and that would send it. So, but yeah, if you want to do that kind of stuff, the best way I have found is YouTube, because they have video of what they're doing with their fingers on the buttons. Hopefully that answers your question there.
Thank you, Troy. Okay, another one from Grace R. Thoughts on WMTX, World Mobile Network, token for sale on Uphold. What are your thoughts on that? Do you know anything about it?
I don't know anything about that one.
Okay, thank you. And then another one here on the board from Nate. Do you think there will be a flip the switch moment where we see the price go up suddenly or slow climb up?
Oh, I think initially we're going to see a flip the switch and it's going to skyrocket. Now, what is skyrocket? I don't know. $50, $100, $1,000, $10,000. I don't know what that number is. But, once it hits those numbers, I think it's going to go. Mr. Poole has showed us that once it starts going up like that, it's going to continue to go up. There's going to be some little glitches and downward movement, but the move is only going to go up. When we start tokenizing, they're working on this stuff right now. Larry Flint, Ondu Finance, they basically came out a couple of weeks ago and said they are going to start digitizing or tokenizing securities or T-bills, and they're going to put them on the XRP ledger. So your house someday will be tokenized. That'll run on the XRP ledger. Your cars, anything of value, will basically be tokenized and run on the XRP ledger. And I've stated this before. I know I sound sometimes like a broken record, but I think someday you're going to be sitting at your desk and working, and you are an hourly employee. Instead of getting paid every week, 2 weeks, or a month, you're going to be paid hourly. And that you're going to be paid in RLUSD, which is the new stable coin for the United States. And I see just today, I just noticed this today, they came out with a circulating supply of 53 million coins. Today it's like 135 million. So it's going up. But you'll be paid in RLUSD, and you'll be able to convert that to whatever you want. You buy a car with it, you can buy a house with it, you can buy XRP, whatever you want to buy with it. That'll be our new digital dollar. And when I talked about that, what happens is if the Treasury would buy the escrow account from Ripple, they would own let's just say they bought half of it. They would own half of the escrow, and if they bought it for $10,000 a share, that money, that them T-bills would go to Ripple. Those T-bills now back to RLUSD. So it makes pretty good sense that they're going to back our real money with something. And whether you know it or not, a stable coin has to be backed, supposedly. Now, RLUSD is the only one that's got approved in New York, and it's a very very rigid process to get this to go through, and they got it. So it is basically regulated. Now, the other stable coins, Tether and USDT and USDC, are not. They don't do audits. RLUSD does audits every month, and they publish those. It's a third-party auditing company. It's not like Ripple's auditing themselves like Tether does. Tether basically does their own audits. So, if you got a crook auditing themselves, you're never going to find out anything. I think USDC does along the same thing. So what happens with Tether is that they basically print money out of thin air. They print what's called Tether. And then what they do is they buy Bitcoin with it and put the Bitcoin on their books. But it's all stolen or money out of thin air that they're backing their books up with. So I think once the fraud comes out on Tether, you're going to see Bitcoin crash. So hopefully that answered your question a little bit.
Thank you, Troy. Okay, let's see. Julie LaPlante, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Troy your question.
Hi, Troy. Thank you for all the great information you give us. I have my XRP and XLM on Ledger Nano X. So it's off. It's on one of those, whatever. Would I transfer that into I also have some on the account. I can't think of the name of it. You were just talking about the best one to have it on.
Uphold.
Yes, Uphold. So I have some on there. Would I transfer that out of this Nano X onto my Uphold to cash it out?
I think you can cash it out on your ledger. I think you can put a
Oh.
bank account in there and cash it out. I'm not that familiar with the ledger.
Okay.
I do know. I do know. You know, I think Ledger's a safe wallet until you're maybe a criminal, because the CEO of Ledger has basically stated you probably have a Ledger X or S. I'm not sure, but they come up with a new one. I think it's called Flex. Now, if you have an X or a S, the CEO has basically came out and stated that if he wanted to hack your wallet, that he could. Now, that being said, if your wallet is laying in a safe or on your dresser, they can't get into your wallet like that. It has to be hooked to the internet, and that's kind of why I bought an EliPal when I was getting my coins off of Coinbase. An EliPal does not hook to the internet. What it does is I have a soft wallet on my phone that shows everything on my phone. And then in order for me to move anything, I need that EliPal. I got to take a snapshot of a QR code that EliPal generates in order to move it. So, and it's basically kind of tamper proof. If somebody was to try to break into that EliPal, it automatically dissolves all the information on it. And another thing, if you guys are trying to maybe move your coins to a hard wallet, please buy them from the manufacturer. Don't go on Amazon or eBay or have somebody give you one. It don't work like that. They can, you know, say if I was a computer whiz, I could go to the manufacturer. I could buy 10 or 20 of these things. I could unpackage it, put all my information in it. You would never know what was in there. Put it back on eBay, sell it to you, and then when you put your information in it, my information overrides yours. You won't see it, but then it gives me the ability to steal your crypto, even on anything. So be very careful. Don't buy them from the manufacturer. The wallet I spoke of earlier is called XAMAN. It's I think they call it a paper wallet. You can get it. It's an app on your phone, very secure, and it's free. And I believe Ripple actually had some workings in creating that wallet. So that's a good one.
Okay, and would you tell us if we ever have to cash out, or are we just going to keep and getting funds off of it, or XRP?
Well, that's going to be the threshold of the people owning the XRP. And that's why the riddlers have said that probably about 99% of the people won't make it to the end. And what is the end? I don't know. Is it 10 years? Is it 15 years from now? Is it tomorrow? I don't know what the end game is. But, let's just say you have 10,000 XRP. What are you going to do when it hits $10,000? What are you going to do when it hits $20,000? You're probably going to be cashing a little bit of it in. Maybe someday you cash it all in. Say, oh, I'm tired of worrying about it. You cash it all in. I think the end game is maybe holding on for dear life, hodling it, maybe in the future staking it and earning a passive income that you don't have to sell it. And that would create generational wealth, because today it might be worth 20,000. Tomorrow it might be worth 30,000. 20 years from now, it might be worth $1 million. You just don't know. We don't have a crystal ball. So some people that own 50,000 XRP, maybe as an investor, they double their money. They're done. They're out. Goodbye. The person that holds $100 worth, if they hold on for dear life in 20 years, they've made generational wealth for their grandkids, their kids, their grandkids. Made way more money than the guy that had 50,000 of them. And all they had to do is hold on. Some of the riddlers have stated at this point in the game, all you have to do is sit on your hands. Just sit down, relax. If you own XRP, you're in the 1%. There's 8 or 9 billion people on this earth, and you're in the 1% that own XRP. Now, you're not in the 1% of XRP owners. There's a lot of people that own a lot of XRP in the millions or 100,000. So if you own 2,500 XRP, you're in the top 10% of the world that owns XRP. That's pretty damn good.
Thank you, Troy.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Hello, Santino. I see you just popped in here. All right, Colorado Mama, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Troy your question.
Thank you very much. I wanted to mention a couple things. When you referred to President Trump is going to take the collected Bitcoin, I think when he actually mentioned that, he signals something to people who think that they're untouchable. Because we know that it's been used for a lot of clandestine activity over the years. I've been involved with this for, let's just say, over a decade. And it's interesting to see that what you're saying here is that when Tether goes down, it's going to collapse Bitcoin. This is actually collected nefarious money. So a lot of people who have been trying to hide money in either Bitcoin or solid assets, etc. Can you speak a little bit about what that might have, why that might have tanked the Bitcoin prices at that point? Because it's telling people a message, I think. And I have a second one here about the Exodus wallet, if you will.
Yeah, you know, the initials for Bitcoin is BTC, and that could stand for Beta Test Coin, or it could stand Bait the Criminal. And I think that last one is Bait the Criminal. They put this coin out and stated that it was basically untrackable. So this is how, you know, drug deals were done, human trafficking was done. And I told you earlier about Brian Brooks stating that when they hacked that pipeline, had they used anything other than Bitcoin, they would have never caught them. So basically what Brian Brooks was telling you is Bitcoin is highly trackable. They tracked it down, they got the Bitcoin back, and they arrested everybody in that hacking movement. So if you think for 1 minute, if you're trying to traffic at children and using Bitcoin to do it, and if you think they don't know who you are, you better be scrambling, because they know exactly who you are. You're doing drug deals with Bitcoin, yeah, you're in their wheelhouse. And what was your second question?
And referencing the Exodus wallet, I've found it to be quite user friendly. But the comment you're making about how Ethereum is being viewed, the gas fees, the slow movement of a lot of things was supposed to be solved with Ethereum. However, the Exodus wallet is operating off of the Ethereum basis for charges. And so do you have any input on that as well as, I see this whole crypto thing as a long-term play, but with anything, whenever we're investing, Troy, we have to have a exit strategy.
Well, do you know the history of Ethereum?
Not specifically. I have a general knowledge, but I am not a master in that.
There's a gentleman by the name of Stephen the Fair that actually helped create Ethereum. And what he's basically stated is Vitalik Buterin, Joseph Lubin, and Mike Novogratz, and a few others. When this started, they had an initial coin offering, and they were basically telling, you know, the JP Morgans, the whoever, if they wanted to invest, let's just say they wanted to invest $1 million. In order for Ethereum to be decentralized, one group of people can't own all of it. That's not decentralization. So what they did is they broke those sales up. Say JP Morgan wanted to buy $1 million worth of it at $1. They may have made 100 transactions to do that. So it looked like 100 people owned it. And the same with Vitalik Buterin and Joseph Lubin and Mike Novogratz. And Stephen the Fair was in that group, but he didn't take any of it because he knew it was freaking illegal. And he's basically came out and stated that the way they started Ethereum, all of them ought to be in jail. And he's also stated that the Ethereum is really a China coin. When Vitalik Buterin, before Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin lived in Canada. He's born in Ukraine. He came to the United States and he slept on one of the executives of Ripple's couch for, I don't know, maybe a couple of months. But then he got the idea that, hey, I could do this on my own. He went out. I don't think it was him on his own. He probably was about 19 when this happened. But he had a lot of influence from China. And he went to China. He learned I don't know what the Chinese language is, but he actually learned to speak that language and went to China and spent a couple of years over there and effectively making. So basically Ethereum is kind of a China coin. They had what's called an initial coin offering. When they did that, it automatically makes it a security. You can't do that. And Stephen the Fair actually told them they couldn't do that. And then you got Bill Lubin, or I'm sorry, not Lubin, Bill Hinman. He was one of the directors at the SEC at the time, and he was basically coming out and giving a speech. I think he worked at Perkins Coie at one time, and they were giving him advice. And the SEC said, "Hey, this is what you're doing is illegal. You can't do that. You can't take advice from these people and do this." Well, Bill Hinman came out and gave a speech that he was not supposed to. He was told not to give this speech, but he did it anyway. He came out and gave the speech and basically gave Bitcoin and Ethereum a free pass. Highly illegal. I think there's going to be some consequences to Ethereum and the stuff that they've done. They went around the SEC. I think they bought and paid. Well, they actually paid Bill Hinman $15 million. So that's a pretty good incentive to change your mind on something. But I would say anybody that's thinking about investing in Ethereum, you better do your dot your I's and cross your T's, because I think there's some heat coming down on it. And I think there's some heat coming down on Bitcoin. You know, Donald Trump, when he did that last Saturday, I think there was a reason he did it. He listed XRP first, and then he listed Solana, and then he listed ADA, which is Cardano, and then he let the Bitcoin maxis and the Ethereum maxis heads explode for a couple of minutes, and then he went on and said, "Okay, of course we're gonna have Bitcoin and Ethereum," and he started the Bitcoin strategic reserve, which is basically going to lock up all of the United States government Bitcoin is what it's going to do. And he's basically stated that we're not, they all thought he was going to come out and say, "Hey, we're going to buy a million Bitcoins and put it into a strategic reserve." He's not buying any. And those Bitcoins that the government owns, those were seized. So those didn't cost the taxpayer anything. He's going to put them in a lockup account. Maybe they'll be worth something in 10 years. I don't know. So did that answer your question a little bit?
Yes, but I also wanted to address, because the Exodus wallet, the gas fees on that are paid in Ethereum for certain transactions on the Exodus wallet. And so I'm wondering how that is going to affect the operation of this. I've been through a couple wallets in my 17 years in this game and have learned a few things along the way. Some of them cost me some money. They were my university cost, So I'm trying to put this out there for those who may not have the expertise you have and tap into your knowledge. And I'm very excited that he's locking up this, but he's also telling people, you know what? If you're naughty, your Bitcoin can be seized. So that was a huge message.
Most definitely. Donald Trump was really good at sending messages. And I think that's why he waited, 3 or 4 or 5 minutes before he sent out the tweet that included Bitcoin and Ethereum. Was he sending a message to those people? I think so. Michael Saylor, a month ago, wanted you to sell your kidney and your liver and everything you had to buy Bitcoin. Why? Why would you tell somebody to do that? Because if people aren't buying Bitcoin, the Bitcoin's going to fall, and he owns a ton of it. He's the CEO of Michael Strategies, or I'm sorry, it's Micro Strategies. I think they've changed the name of that as well. But that just leaves a bad taste in my mouth when somebody's telling me I need to sell the family farm, my house, my kids, my kidney, my liver to buy Bitcoin. I've never told anybody that on XRP. I think if you have 20 XRP or 10 XRP, you're still in the 1%. It doesn't take a lot to get started. The way I started, I just skipped a few meals out. I still ate. I ate at home, but as soon as I got 20 or 30 bucks, I started investing it, and then I really started doing my research on it. At first, I really wanted to get into Bitcoin. I told myself I'm not going to get into Bitcoin until I understand it. So what I did is I went on YouTube and I started pros and cons to Bitcoin. I learned how the mining works. I learned how it's very slow. If you want to send a Bitcoin to somebody, what it does is it sends out a huge mathematical problem, and these computers around the world, they try to solve that problem. And once they solve that problem, they get a portion of the sale of the Bitcoin. And I listened to Brad Kimes, Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. When Bitcoin, and he just stated this the other day, so it's fresh in my memory. He said, he goes, I needed to move a Bitcoin, and when I did that move, it was $60,000 the Bitcoin was, and it cost him $4,000 to move it. Think about that. It doesn't cost anything to move an XRP. So I've never invested in Bitcoin. I found out real quick through my 2 weeks of research that was not for me. So I knew the digital age was coming, so I started digging into what was available out there. And then I listened to Charlie Ward at the time, and Charlie Ward said he was on a plane with a gentleman, and they were going to shut the world economy down, and they pretty much did that through COVID. And he mentioned a token called XRP. He said, I don't know anything about it. He says, I've never heard of it, but this guy said something about XRP to him. And this has been 7 years ago. And after he said that, he had a little program that he was doing, and he got a couple of gals to come on. I think it was a mother and a daughter to come on and talk about XRP. And they were very knowledgeable about it at that time. But they did a couple of shows with him, and then we never seen them again. I think he went under an NDA and he couldn't talk about XRP anymore. He didn't mention it for a long, long time. And here just recently, I think Charlie Ward's been mentioning XRP again, so maybe his NDA has run out. Hopefully that answers your question a little bit.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Colorado Mama. All right, Vic. Let's see who's next. Troy, how you doing on time? You got time for a couple more? I've got about 4 more people I've unmuted their mics.
You bet. Let's take those.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so Vicky Victorious, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for doing this. And Troy, thanks for being with us today. I'm kind of upset with this reserve thing because I'm XRP. I've never invested in Bitcoin, blah, 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 because we all know, right? So my concern is, what's the difference in Bitcoin and a meme coin? It's all hype. It's all speculation. It doesn't do anything except solve a mathematical problem. Like, who cares? And like you mentioned with Tether, and they just printed out money like they wanted to. It's the same as the US dollar, which is also not backed by anything. So if nothing's backed by anything and they go on this Bitcoin reserve and we have all these maxis come in there, why go back? Why would we go to gold and silver back currency?
Well, first of all, on the strategic Bitcoin reserve, you got to keep in mind that those tokens on there didn't cost the U.S. taxpayer anything. They seized those assets. So he's going to put them into a strategic reserve and basically lock them up. And I think the reason he's going to lock them up is because he doesn't want to disturb the market. Right now, everything kind of runs or looks at Bitcoin. XRP follows Bitcoin. XLM follows Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up, the meme market goes up as well. If Bitcoin falls, so does the market. So if he put 200,000 Bitcoins on the market today, I could see the whole market crashing as far as crypto. And he doesn't want to do that yet. But I think that time's probably coming because Brad Garlinghouse said at one time that 99% of the crypto would go bye-bye. So if it doesn't have any use case or utility, it'll probably be gone. What was your second question?
Oh, you answered my second question by that you're exactly right, that Bitcoin dominates the market. If you look at 6 p.m. yesterday, everything fell. And it always falls in line with what Bitcoin's doing, but it doesn't always come back like Bitcoin does. My second question would be, about like Congress and their trading practices and how they knew information ahead of time, and now they're all billionaires. And I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy as much as understanding. But Trump's involved with this. His kids are involved with this. Eric is very involved with this. And what's the difference? And Trump created the meme coin. So it seems to me, and I think that's been the contention, that Congress and people shouldn't be in the stock market. Well, what's the difference in the crypto market? So that just, really doesn't settle with me. And I just wanted to add that something nobody has said, that Trump's orders, the orders do state that there will be a full audit, of those 200 that they're putting in a reserve. So hopefully that will kickstart everything, and it doesn't take forever to diminish, or doesn't take forever to figure out what this is. But what are your takes with the Trump family and them doing what they're doing, and what's the difference in what Congress was doing, with the stock market? Thank you.
Yeah, well, first off, with the distributed ledger technology, the XRP ledger and XRP, it basically takes the criminality out of everything, because you can't change the blockchain or the distributed ledger technology. Once you put it on the ledger, it's going to be there forever. They can go look it up right now. You can't do that. You couldn't find out how much Nancy Pelosi. Maybe you could, but right now it's hard to do. So with the distributed ledger technology, and now they're tokenizing all the coins. Just today, the NASDAQ said they're coming out with 24 hours. I think it's 5 days a week trading, and that's eventually going to run on the blockchain. So all of those stocks and bonds that are on the stock exchange, they'll be transparent. You won't be able to naked short sell. You'll still be able to short sell, but you won't be able to naked short sell, because there's only 100% of the stocks that are out there. You can't have 200% of stocks. That doesn't work. There's only 100%. So with this new technology, it takes all the criminality out of everything. Did that answer your question? I think you might have had another second question in there, and ask me that second one again.
Go ahead, Vicki.
Yeah. So what I wanted I understand all that, and I know everything needs to be tokenized. But before we had the cryptocurrency market, there was the stock market, right? And that the people in Congress were buying some of the stock before it ever went public. So they were what I consider participating in insider trading. Okay. So with Trump and family and others, I'm sure, because you've got these maxis telling you that Bitcoin's worth $90,000. According to what? But if the Trump family is also participating in this, Trump created the meme coin, and look what happened to it and what happens to meme coins. We know that. But if they're participating in this, what's the difference in what they are doing versus what Congress is doing? And like I said, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to understand, because I don't see a difference. So that makes me feel like the manipulation will continue in the markets. Thanks.
President Trump's coin, I think it's probably more of a collector's item than it is anything else. I don't think it'll have anything to do with our economy. And you know what? There's a whole bunch of 50, 60,000 of those meme coins out there. Melania created one. I get your point there. There could be heavily manipulated money out there. But I think in the long run, when it's all said and done, there'll be about 5 coins that come out of all of this. Now, probably maybe 10. I think XRP is a winner. I hate to say it, but I think XLM will be a play of it as well. IOTA, Algorand, and some others. That ADA, Cardano, and maybe even HBAR might have a place in it. But I think the shakeout's coming, where we're going to get rid of a lot of these meme coins that have been stealing people's money. If it runs on a blockchain, they can find the criminals who have stole that money from people. And I think they're going to go after those people that have stolen that money and give it back to the rightful owners. I hope that answered your question a little bit.
Thank you, Troy. Okay, Bubbles, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. You're up. Go ahead, Bubbles. Bubbles. Okay, Leslie M, your mic. Oh, go ahead, Bubbles.
Oh, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I had a question on XLM and XDC. So I got into crypto to get XRP, but my friend has been pushing those other two coins. And I heard you say a little bit on XLM when you started the podcast. So I just wanted to know your opinion on it.
Yeah, my opinion is I just, the creator of the Stellar Network and XLM was Jeb McCaleb. And in my view, Jeb McCaleb is a crook. He started, when he started his businesses, he started a company called 2000 Donkeys. And that was a peer-to-peer information sharing platform. And he found out that there was a backdoor into that platform, so he sold it overseas so he couldn't get sued. Well, then he started a company called Mt. Gox. Mt. Gox was a company that basically was started to trade magic cards. Well, Jeb got bored with that and let it sit idle for a while, and then Bitcoin trading came along. And Jeb was like, okay, yeah, I'll get this Mt. Gox and we'll start trading Bitcoin on it. So he did, and, very successful. About 70% of all the Bitcoin trades at that time were happening on a company called Mt. Gox that he had created. Well, he actually found out that there was a back door in there, and he got hacked for 25,000 Bitcoin. So he decided, and that was when Bitcoin was around, I don't know, $100 or something. Anyway, he decided he was going to sell Mt. Gox, and he sold it to a company in Japan. Well, that company in Japan got hacked for 850,000 Bitcoin, and it was a lot more expensive than $100 at that time. So a lot of people lost a lot of money. But Jeb McCaleb never got sued. So Jeb McCaleb was a co-founder of what's called OpenCoin. Well, OpenCoin eventually turned into Ripple. Well, Jeb and Arthur Brito and Chris Larson were the developers of that OpenCoin. But it wasn't long, and Jeb McCaleb got kicked out of Ripple. And I think the reason why is they found out who he really was. I think he's a Rothschild. Anyway, so if you go on the internet and try to find out who Jeb McCaleb is, you can't find anything about him. You can't find his mother, father, how many siblings he has. Another thing I've stated before, and I don't know if it's true or not, but Jeb looks a lot like James Antifas, the owner of Comet Ping Pong. If you pull up a photo of James Antifas and Jeb McCaleb, they look a lot alike. So that's why I have a bad taste in my mouth for Stellar. Now, I'm not saying the good guys haven't taken that over. When Ripple was actually sued, Chris Larson and Brad Garlinghouse was actually sued as well. Why wasn't Jeb sued? He was the one that got out with when he left Ripple. They did an agreement with Jeb to take 9 billion XRP and go at a certain time frame that he could sell them, so he couldn't drop them all on the market at once. But why wasn't Jeb sued? He was the one selling to the open market, and what they were accusing Brad and Chris of doing, and they weren't doing it. So Jeb is an insider. At some way, shape, or form, Jeb is an insider that never got sued. That's why I don't invest in XLM. Hope that's a good explanation for you.
Yes, it is. But how about XDC?
I'm a fan of XDC. I don't own any XDC at the current time, but I will. The reason I don't own any right now, every dime that I have that's investable goes into XRP because I think that's going to be king. And once these announcements are made by probably Donald Trump, you're going to see these bank and institutions fly into this asset and start buying it. And when they do, you won't be able to buy any more of it. Because right now there's, between 40 and 50 in escrow that Uphold has. So that leaves about 50 billion tokens out on the open market. And Ripple has not sold any XRP to the open market since 2019. So once those are, probably what's on the open market right now, JP Morgan, the bank itself could probably go in and buy everything that's on the open market tonight. And then tomorrow morning when you wake up, there would be no XRP to have. And that's why when I buy when I have money to invest, I invested in XRP. I think I'll have plenty of time in the future to buy XDC. Like I said, I think XDC is an excellent coin, but I just think there's more use case for XRP at this time.
Yes, sounds great. Thank you so much, Troy, and thank you, Jenny and admin. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bobbles.
Yeah.
All right, Leslie M., your mic is unmuted. Go ahead and ask Troy your question.
Thank you, Jenny and Troy, for your time today. My question had to do with, I don't hear many people still talking about the Lobster wallet. Why is that?
Because most of the coins on the Lobster wallet are a scam. I've said this for the last 5 years that you had to be very, very careful with the Lobster wallet. There was a whole bunch of scammers over there. Many people have lost money on the Lobster wallet. What people don't understand about the Lobster wallet, say if I had a huge following on Telegram, say I had let's say I had 500,000 followers on Telegram, I could say, hey, I'm hearing a new coin's coming out. It's the Fox coin, and I could go on to Lobster, and I could buy 500,000, and I could call them Fox coins, and I could put them on the market. I could make a website, and I could make it seem really legit, and I could promote that coin to my 500,000 followers. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to go buy it. Well, it's not worth anything. Okay. So be very, very careful when you're on the Lobster wallet. I'm not saying that Lobster's a bad wallet. There's a few good coins over there, but it's a stellar wallet. Its headquarters is in Belarus, right next to Ukraine. So I think it uses a lot of laundering money. What else was I going to say? And the XRP, if people are buying XRP over there on the Lobster wallet, when you type in XRP over there, pages after pages after pages come up. Which one's right? Well, probably none of them. There's one that they claim that's on an F chain, but it's not a real XRP. It's a staked version of the XRP, which is bought off of Lobster. So I'm not saying you can't get your money out of that, but it's not designed for XRP. It's designed for XLM and Stellar. Hopefully that got your question answered.
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Okay, last but certainly not least, Miss Romaine W. Go ahead. You can close us out with your question.
Thanks, Jenny, and thank you, Troy. I have two really close girlfriends, and they've worked really hard all their life. They're at an age where most of their friends are retired, and they're still working really hard. So for 4 years, I've been trying to get them to invest in XRP, and finally yesterday, they sound like they're ready. And you mentioned a substantial dip could be happening soon, and they're not into researching all this. They just trust me. So I'm wondering if you think that there's some kind of time frame that maybe I should tell them to wait a few weeks or just jump in now, just because of that dip that you mentioned.
You know, I don't have a crystal ball, but my theory has always been if I have money, I invest it today. Only because what I said earlier about the banks jumping in. Once Donald Trump or maybe it's Vice President Vance or maybe it's the new crypto czar flips the switch, it's over. And I think we're almost over because you don't hear them words coming out of the president's mouth or a tweet. Mm-hmm. XRP, once they said, once you start hearing about it on mainstream media, and we heard it from our president, XRP was listed first out of all of them. We're close. We could come out today and I think its name is Ulrich for the SEC, and just state that we dropped the lawsuit, and all JP Morgan, Bank of America, they could all come in and just start a beating frenzy. And when that happens, it's not going to be just Bank of America and JP Morgan. China, Russia, all of these foreign countries are going to be just sponsored at the bit to get a little piece of the XRP. So I don't know that I'd stick around and wait for the dip. We might be in the dip right now. I'm not saying it won't go below $1. It might. And if it does, I'll buy some more. But I have a position in XRP. If they have no position in XRP, I would go ahead and establish a position and then wait. Maybe you have I don't know what kind of money they have, But right now, I just see good things coming. We're right now starting to hit the media are actually talking about Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, but XRP. You know, it used to be when Fox News would talk about cryptocurrencies, they listed, you know, they'd show the top, they'd have a list on the board, and it would go, Bitcoin was number one in market cap, Ethereum was number two in market cap, and then Litecoin would be like number 30 in market cap. They skipped over number 3. They skipped over XRP. They didn't want to show you. I mean, that ought to scream right there at you that they're trying to get the big boys in as fast as they can, buying up this XRP, because it's going to be, I think it's going to be the number one coin this year. So that's my advice to them. But like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. If they want to wait on the dip, they might be out of it altogether. They might not be in the 1% that owns XRP, especially when the banks come in.
Okay, they won't wait on a dip because I won't. They would only know about it if I told them. So I'm not even going to tell them. I'm just going to tell them to hurry up and get in. So that's a perfect answer, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Troy, and thank you, Jenny.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Romaine. And real quickly, CC Wallace, you had a question for me on the wall. Where's the best place to learn about XRP? You can, like Troy always says, there's a lot of great videos on YouTube. Troy is here with us pretty much now every 2 weeks. And then also too, we have Rob Cunningham that comes on here as well. And he talks about the financial world as well as XRP. So I would say stay right here, come listen to the shows, and then check out YouTube. There is a lot of great videos over there. And Troy, I don't know if you want to add to that, where they can maybe go to learn more about it.
Well, you know, there's a whole bunch of spaces on Twitter as well. So if you're wanting to just jump into one of those spaces over there, they have them on there all the time. There's a whole bunch of people that talk about XRP. Rob Cunningham, he's got the cool show over there on Spaces. I highly recommend Rob. I've actually had several conversations with Rob on the phone. He is a very, very smart man. And if you don't follow him on Twitter, I highly suggest that you do. He's coming out with posts every day. I admire the man a lot. He's got a couple of daughters, pretty religious man, tells good information. But yeah, if you're wanting to get into it, I highly recommend YouTube videos. Just type in pros and cons of XRP, and there'll be a whole bunch of videos that pop up, or how it works, or that type of thing. And the other one, I sit on. I know me and Jenny both sit in on a lot of spaces over on X. You'll just have to type in XRP over there on X on search, and you'll start searching people, and you'll start following them, and then they'll start having spaces over there that you can jump into. And there's a guy by the name of Vet over there, and he actually runs a node for Ripple. So if you can follow Vet, he's a lot of time in those spaces, and he's very intelligent. So there's what you can do, a little research on him.
Thank you, Troy. And thank you, everybody. Troy typically gives us about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes of his time. So we're right there a little bit, 5 minutes over. So I want to thank you, Troy, once again for being here. We'll see you, hopefully, if you're available in 2 weeks.
Yep, very good.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend. Get excited, everybody. A lot of great things happening. And let's see what happens with this Trump conference with the crypto today. And tomorrow, we're going to still tentatively right now, Alpha Warrior is going to be on the show. Just don't know the time yet. So watch for that, everybody. And with that, have a great weekend. God bless you all. Thank you for being here. We love you. And Troy, once again, God bless you. Love you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, everybody. God bless.